And we're going to find out how many servings are in each calories and carbs. The first equation shows the total amount of calories, and the second shows the total amount of carbs. But you want to know how much of each serving is given in each, the tomato soup and the bread. So to find that, we gotta find, for example, y. And to find y, we take this equation and we separate y by itself. And to do that, we subtract 18x, so it's 13y equals 42 minus 18x. And to separate the 13 from the y, we divide by 13, and that gives us y is equal to 42 divided by 13 minus 18x divided by 13. Now that we have y, we plug that into this equation here. So it's 100x plus 70, 42 divided by 13 minus 18x over 13 is equal to 230. And to do this, we distribute the 70 into both, and we get 100x 226.1 minus 96.9. And now you subtract these two values, which should get you 129.2 hundredths. Now you subtract 129.2 from 230, which equals 100.8. Now you divide 100 by both sides to get x by itself, and x is equal to 1.008. X from the first equation, you plug it into the second equation, which is 1.008. But you multiply that by 18, you get 22.5. Now you have to get y by itself, and to do that, you subtract 22.5 from both sides, and that should get you negative 19. And to you simplify that, you should get 1.3. 1.3 represents the total amount of servings in bread, and 1.008 represents the total amount of servings for the tomato soup. We're going to try to find out how many dump trucks it would take to transfer stuff from Mount Everest. And we know that there's this much to transfer, so we're going to convert that to scientific form. By doing that, we just move the amount of places and equals 11 spaces. So it's 7.247 times 10 to the 11, since there's 11 spaces here. And since there's 64 cubic meters, we convert that to 6.4 times 10 to the power 1. And if you were to solve that, it would equal 1.132 times 10 to the 10. And that's how many dump trucks it would take to transfer to Mount Everest. For part B, we're trying to find out how long the truck would be if it were to transfer all of this material. And we take the first part, we have this from the first part of the equation, which is the size of Mount Everest right here. And for the second part, this is the distance. 12,000 represents distance, and so now we just convert it to the amount. And we do this by canceling out meters here. And since there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile, this is canceled and you're left with feet. And if you were to calculate all this, you would get 4.59 times 10 to the 19 feet. For part C, we're trying to find out how long it would take to get to Mount Everest without stopping. And this is the distance it would take to get there from your current location. And so to convert that to the amount of times, we cancel it by 1 hour per every hour there's 60 miles, so the miles cancel out. And for every day there's 24 hours, and that cancels out. And you would calculate all this, you get 8.33, which is close to 8 days to get to Mount Everest without stopping. This graph shows a very rough estimate of how much each printer would cost over time. Because the ink cartridge cost different amounts, and the initial value for each printer is different. For example, printer A has a much lower cost than printer B in the beginning, but over time, printer A will be a lot less, and at somewhere around here, the prices would meet. But overall, if you were to have printer B for a much longer time, it would cost less than printer A, which even though printer A has a much lower starting cost. What 24 and 17 represents. The 17 and 24 represent the amount the printers cost per month, which is what X represents. X equals the month, and 24 and 17 represents the amount it costs per month. And this is the slope of the graph. And 80 and 145 is the y-intercept of the graph, and this represents the initial value of the printers. For part C, we're trying to find out how much, what price both of the printers meet at. To find this, we put them equal to each other at first, and then subtract 80 on both sides. Then you subtract 17 on both sides to get 7x equals 65. You divide 7 on both sides and you should get x is equal to 9.286, which is equal to about 9 months. And then you plug in x into the equation to find out what price to meet at, and if you do that, the equation should equal $302, which is the price to meet at.